Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're going to be using Kingambit in an OU Wi-Fi battle against the InvincibleMo. So if you guys enjoy this type of content and you want to see more like it, of course, leave a like and subscribe for more. There's going to be a rental code down below in the description, as well as links to my Twitter and Discord. Make sure to click all those to stay up to date on future content, and comment your thoughts on the battle down below. I'd love to see your guys' thoughts on the team. With that said, let's get started. First things first, we do have Kingambit, of course, the Mon of the Hour. This is a Trick Room team built around Terra Electric Kingambit. Terra Electric should be great against a lot of different Pokemon that might otherwise try and sponge hits from this. For example, Pokemon such as Dondozo, it's basically like our best way to damage this, though I will say it is still definitely like a 3-hit KO. But under Trick Room, we could actually make it so that Mon is no longer a switch-in. Specifically, though, our base issue would be Curse Sets with Body Press, though with Terra Electric, we also end up getting rid of our fighting weakness to that Mon, which is pretty decent. With Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch, these are some great dark options, with Kowtow Cleave being a 85 base power dark type aerial ace, which is pretty decent, means that Pokemon can't really get around us. This hit is always going to get off. And with Sucker Punch, we can get around other potential setup sweepers such as Corvidance Volcarona, or even just faster threats such as Chien Pao, especially if it Terra Ices, for example. We are able to pick these Pokemon off pretty efficiently. And then with Iron Head, it's really great for the Fairy type matchup. With Clear Amulet, by the way, as well, this does stop us from getting our attack dropped, which is pretty useful in terms of Supreme Overlord, which raises our attack for Fainted Allies. So it's like the perfect combination for this Pokemon, basically. Moving on to Slowking, of course, we do have our Trick Room setter as well as our Hail setter, because obviously we do have Trick Room with Kingambit, of course, which is our Trick Room sweeper, but we do have a Hailmon, of course, with our next Pokemon, but basically this is just meant to be a spit F wall while also being a really good pivot with Chilly Reception. To bring in our setup sweeper, this is Titan. Now, if for some reason we can't pop the game with Kingambit, I do plan on popping it with Titan. With Terra Blast, Earthquake, Ice Spinner, and Belly Drum, this is basically just meant to be a nice Belly Drum sweeper, with the Chilly Reception being a great way to set up Snow, which will boost this thing's physical defense, which is great for opposing Pokemon that might try and go for physical priority, stuff like E-Speed, Aqua Jet, Mach Punch, etc. This thing will be able to absolutely take those hits very efficiently, and we'll be able to try and set up for a win with the Citrus Berry plus Belly Drum set. With Dragapult up next, we do have our Choice Spec set. This is honestly just designed to be a really good special threat, and the Pokemon that would wall this, such as Tyranitar, for example, we should be able to smash with Kingambit, as well as Titan at the very least with Earthquake, so not really too concerned in that regard. We do have a few ones that can at the very least help break Dragapult's checks. And as far as Pokemon that would check Kingambit, stuff like, for example, the Dondozo, we're able to shatter that with Specs Draco Meteor, so I'm not really too concerned in this regard. I think the two of them in general serve as a really strong offensive core that a lot of teams are going to really struggle to actually defeat. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we do have Rocky Helmet and Amoonguss with Synthesis, Spore, Sludge Bomb, and Kick a Drain. Really just a great physical wall. This was intended originally for Palafin, though Palafin did recently get banned. It's still honestly a really great wall to Dondozo, though, which Dondozo still does have a pretty great place in the metagame, which does mean this is an amazing defensive piece that can switch into Dondozo if Kingambit's on the field, which is great because that's probably one of the better Pokemon that could actually wall Kingambit. So Amoonguss realistically is probably like our best defensive partner for Kingambit in my opinion, but again, this does offer a lot in general with the region core with Slowking. With Spore, we can definitely try and stop some opposing Pokemon that might otherwise try and break us offensively, so I will definitely take that. Final one on the team we do have is Tinkaton, which ends up being our Stealth Rock setter this week, with a knockoff Stealth Rock, Close Combat, Sword Stance, and Gigaton Hammer. I don't know why I said Close Combat there, and I don't know why I said this week. We're doing daily content. I don't know why I was thinking this week. Regardless though, we're just a Spit F set with a little bit of speed. This 88 base speed in general, it's fairly helpful in my opinion for a few different things. For one, of course, with the 88 base speed, we're able to outpace Pokemon such as Magnezone by a little bit, which is pretty good, as well as anything that might creep a little bit over Magnezone. In general, I do think that the speed creep is just pretty beneficial. Again, making sure that we can go for stuff like knockoff before Magnezone takes us out, get rid of choice specs or even any sort of leftovers, really whatever item it's running, should be, if nothing else, pretty beneficial to us. But with that said though, let's get right into the battle. Until then, peace out guys. Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're taking on InvincibleMo. Today the team is built around Kingambit, so if you guys want to try this team yourselves, the link to that will be down below. For anyone who's been looking for a team to use on BattleSpot, I'm finally caving in. Here's a team for BattleSpot. This will be up for 5 days, so for anyone who's really looking for a BattleSpot singles team, this one's for you. Especially for the people who don't have people that they want to battle. Yeah, this team is definitely for you. As far as a lead goes, we're definitely going to lead off. I'm kind of thinking of leading off with Tinkaton, actually, since this is one at minutes of dedicated rocker, but two, I'm kind of anticipating Actually, no. I'm not going to lead off with Tinkaton because I want to make sure that I'm pretty okay against Iron Treads. Since Iron Treads is a little bit scary here, I don't really have a great switch into it. So I'm actually going to lead off with Slowking, I think. Since Iron Treads or Frostlass will be the Pokemon, and I could truthfully probably take a hit from either Mon. And I can potentially go for a Chilly Reception into most likely Titan, but I'm not entirely sure which one yet. I'll probably figure it out in the moment, but it really depends on the lead. I definitely can't really risk Iron Treads coming in because it's basically a 2-shot on whatever Mon it wants, and I don't really have a great ground switch in here. My opponent's going to lead off with Frostlass. Okay, this is honestly fine. Since Frostlass, if nothing else, isn't really that offensive of a Mon this gen, thankfully. Lost out on a lot of moves. I'm pretty sure it lost some Poltergeist even, which is a huge deal for it actually. We're going to go for a Trick Room here, I think. Since Trick Room should be pretty decent if nothing else, it's going to go for Taunt. Honestly, not a huge deal. This is information if nothing else that Frostlass provides us, so we will definitely take that. Let's see. So as far as my play this turn goes, I think I'm just going to go for Surf. Honestly, it's just good damage and this can break Sash and nothing else. We do see that this is running Taunt Spikes. Again, pretty standard on Frostlass, to be honest. And I'm not too concerned with the spikes in all honesty here. We're going to do just about half. Surf was disabled. Oh no, so that basically means we're a Struggle Mon now. Okay, well, I'm 100% going to go into... Well, I don't want to go into Kingambit necessarily. Solely for the fact this could end up burning me, and I would much rather burn Tinkaton, and then I could just go for a knockoff and take this Mon out, so it's not a big deal. Most likely, my guess is they're going to stay in here and probably just set up more spikes, which I'm not against. My guess is that they're trying to wear the team down so then they can win with Iron Valiant, if I had to pick a Mon, but I'm not really too sure in all honesty. There's a lot of different Mons that they could win with, to be fair. This is just a really HO heavy team that's probably built around Frostlass lead, if I had to guess. So I'm not too concerned with this. I'm just gonna go for a knockoff this turn, since even if Frostlass does switch out here, this should be pretty decent if nothing else for just knocking off some sort of item that my opponent has. Taunt goes off, that's fine. I figure this would probably go off for either a Sword Stance or a Stealth Rock, so I'm not too concerned with this. And just taking out the Frostlass should be pretty beneficial for us if nothing else. So it's already one Pokemon down. They only got 2 layers of spikes up, which is pretty decent. If they got the third, it wouldn't have probably made a huge difference, but it's still definitely in our favor, if nothing else, not having to deal with as many hazards, since that long-term would end up affecting how many turns we switch in. In terms of what my opponent brings in next, I'm honestly not sure. I think that my opponent's probably going to bring in Dondozo. Oh, no, they're going to go into Iron Treads. Okay. So the question is, I guess, do I need this Pokemon? Since Iron Treads, again, it's a pretty terrifying option for something else that my opponent has. Honestly, this is kind of a liability. The best option this would be around for would be like Roaring Moon, just to stop a dragon attack from going off as likely. But even still, I don't know how much benefit I actually gain from this. I'm going to go for a knockoff here, just in case this is like AV or something, and just so I can get off some good damage. Or even just so we can scout speed here, if nothing else. Since we can figure out if this thing is faster or slower than my Tinkaton. Maybe my opponent switches out aggressively here, anticipating that I'll switch out of Tinkaton. They actually do seem to do that. I don't know how I called that at the very last second, but Iron Valiant comes in. This is honestly still pretty okay for me, actually. Since Iron Valiant is... So it's Booster Energy, actually. That's fine. I don't really mind Booster Energy Iron Valiant, in all honesty. Thankfully, it's also only boosting the attack stat, so I could probably just go for a... I think I'm just going to go for a Gigaton here. If my opponent goes for a Substitute, so be it. They would probably be like, what? Well, if they're running Substitute, that's pretty okay with me, actually. Because that means they're not running 3 attacks, or they're not running Sword Stance, which either one of those, in my opinion, is a net positive here. Since just making sure that we can get some good damage off on this Pokemon will probably be in our best interest. Making sure that we can wear this thing down so that Titan can win, or so that Kingambit can win, without any real concern about this revenging off my team with the +2 Sword Stance into Terra as well. So my opponent is going to actually Terrestrial this, speaking of, which is good information for me, if nothing else. They're Terra Electric. That's actually pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of curious what the full moveset's going to be, but we do see the attack stat raised from Sword Stance. They're probably Terra Blast and then Dual Stab. Most likely Terra Blast, of course, just being a decent way for this Pokemon to hit Pokemon like Toxapex. This is very well played, of course. As far as how I want to handle this, I mean, now Kingambit is actually a lot more viable against this Pokemon, so I'll definitely take that. And actually, I could probably just go right into a Mungus here. Mungus should wall this set unless it has Zen Headbutt, but I'm curious. I don't think this would have Zen in tandem with Terra Blast. So maybe Terra Blast, I guess, is used for some defensive edge, if that's the case, if it has Zen Headbutt. I'm not really too sure, but we do have a lot of options here. So I will definitely take that. And this is going to go for the Terra Blast. Okay, it's fine. Now, I don't think this takes Rocky Helmet damage, if I remember correctly, but I'm not too concerned with that anyway. My opponent does actually not... They don't really have a great switch into Spore, which I will definitely take. I'm going to go for the... Let's see. I think I'm just going to go for the Spore here. This should pressure, assuming a Volcarona comes in, but even if the Iron Valiant stays in, I'm not too concerned with Spore going off, since Iron Valiant's a decent option for my opponent in general, and just wearing this thing down so that it can't sweep my team is pretty much... It's pretty much a necessity if I'm going to win with the Titan. And same for Kingambit, but to a lesser degree, to be fair, since Kingambit can always revenge it with Shadow Sneak with Sucker Punch. So I'm not too concerned here. My opponent's going to withdraw, and they're going to bring in Iron Treads. Okay, putting this to sleep is actually also really amazing for me, actually. So I will definitely take that. My opponent is going to... I mean, they're probably going to go right into Volcarona here, which a little unfortunate for me. But I can make a player on that, to be fair. What I think I'll actually end up doing... I think that I'm going to go into... I think I'm just going to go into Dragapult here. Am I going to go into Dragapult? Yeah, I think I am. Because I can go into Dragapult and get off a really strong Draco Meteor. My opponent has lost to their Fairy type, so this is going to absolutely hurt. Roaring Moon is going to come in. Don't be Booster Energy. Don't be Booster Energy. Don't be Booster Energy. Fucking kill me. Okay, this is Booster Energy. Oh, no. Don't be attack. Oh, thank God. It's on. Oh, wait, no. I don't know why I said don't be attack. If that thing was speed boosting, that would have railed my team. Thankfully, though, this is an attack boosting one. So this aggressive into Dragapult is looking a lot better. I can honestly just go for a raw Draco Meteor. My opponent literally has no switch into this move, actually, outside of the Iron Treads, which even still, Iron Treads getting hit with any sort of special attack will be pretty beneficial for us, unless, I guess, Salt Vest, but we can figure that out if anything else. So we'll definitely take that. This should absolutely massacre Roaring Moon, which is a huge offensive piece for my opponent. It's also my opponent's only actual resist at this point to Kingambit. To be fair, Dondozo is still a pretty good check, but I have ways around Dondozo, such as Dragapult. So this core honestly should be really deadly for my opponent, thankfully. So we've now taken out 2 of the most threatening mons. We've also cleared my opponent's speed boost on the Iron Valiant, so I will definitely take this. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for another Draco. Despite being -2, there should still be some good damage, and I truthfully just want to chip this thing in range of Kingambit. So I will definitely take that. My opponent might have Morning Sun, to be fair, which would be fine, but that also means they're lacking a key coverage option, which we can figure out together. And it might very well just be Bug Buzz, or it might just very well be, well, it's definitely not a fire move, but it might be Bug Buzz. Regardless, though, I'm going to go right into, I think I'm going to go right into Tinkaton here, since I can always go for Stealth Rocks, which, if nothing else, should be decent for trying to, in general. I don't know, it should be decent if nothing else, trying to break any sort of sashes, I guess, or not really sashes, actually, just for a long-term chip. But I'm definitely going to sack this mon either way, because I can go for a knockoff here. In fact, yeah, I'm going to go for knockoff into rocks, since after going for the knockoff, my opponent will be a lot more inclined to actually just KO me, since they'll otherwise have to gamble with me getting up Stealth Rocks against them potentially, which will be pretty terrible for my opponent. So I am just going to go for the knockoff. I think it's in my best interest. And then I can bring in my Kingambit later on to Sucker Punch this, so I'm not too concerned. They're going to go for the Fire Dance, and that is absolutely going to KO. Crit, no way in hell mattered. So I will definitely take that. Just making sure that we can clear the field before we even need to worry. From here, I'm going to go into Slowking, since I do want to try and get up a Trick Room, actually. Getting up a Trick Room here, I think, will be in my best interest. Specifically, especially if this thing doesn't end up actually having a way to touch my Slowking. Since I can go for Trick Room into Chilly Reception, they do have Bug Buzz, it's fine. Again, just at this point, we're just scouting information and also boosting Kingambit, so I will definitely take that. From here, what I think I'll do, I'm going to go into Kingambit, and I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch. I'm going to try and play around this mon if nothing else, since I can, in theory, try and switch enough until this mon, well, I don't know about switch enough until this mon ends up going for, basically, I just need to try and trick my opponent into not going for a Fiery Dance. So I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch this turn. My opponent, obviously, I mean, they could have, to be fair, Quiver Dance, but I think that my opponent probably just over-assumed that I would have assumed that. which is totally fair. The burn is unfortunate, I will say, but it's not too detrimental, actually, because that Iron Valiant is Terra Electric. We're still pretty good offensively as well against this team. And Iron Treads being asleep, that's like with their best check besides Dondozo. And because of the fact that Dondozo is probably going to go for Body Press here, what I can actually do, I can go for the Terra Electric. And I can take this, well, I'm probably not going to take this Mon out, but I'm going to get a good chunk of damage off from nothing else. So, worst case scenario, what we'll probably end up needing to do, we'll probably end up needing to bring in Pult to revenge this thing, but the Terra Electric should be some good damage if nothing else. And this is just going to be a really good way to get some good chip on Dondozo so it's in Draco range. And my guess is my opponent's going to either go for Body Press or Curse this turn, so this makes a lot of sense for me anyway. They're going to go for the Curse, that's perfectly fine. They're now going to drop themselves slower than my Kingambit, which I will definitely take, because they were already like right around that speed tier. Terra Blast will go off, and this should be a pretty strong hit if nothing else. And we're going to probably do like 25%, a little less than 25%, unfortunate. We do see leftovers from this, which is good information item-wise. So at this point, I just need to make sure that I can... like, die to burn, to be honest, I think is my best play. What I can actually also do, I can potentially go into Amoonguss, since Amoonguss should probably wall this thing. Sadly, Kingambit got burned, which is very unfortunate, actually. First turn of Flame Body burned, because that means that we do a lot less damage. Though, to be fair, we weren't exactly breaking this Mon anyway. I'm kind of shocked by how little Terra Blast did. Even though this Mon is +1, I'm still just very genuinely shocked. We're going to, regardless, go for a Giga Drain here. Giga Drain should be pretty decent, if nothing else, at not only damaging Dondozo, since it's a fairly Spidef weak Mon, but also just, it's a great option against whatever comes in next. Since Iron Valiant is already fairly chipped down, and it's also not a resist, and Iron Treads, meanwhile, despite being at full HP, is fairly Spidef weak, so we should be fine there as well. Also, I highly doubt that Iron Valiant can actually get off a real hit against me, and as we see here, Giga Drain does go off, which should put us in range to actually just take this hit. I can't imagine this Mon takes me out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for Giga Drain, and I'll probably find a turn to synthesis up on something else later on. We're going to see, come on, what's this going to go for? Spirit Break, okay. So yeah, this Mon had absolutely no way to really damage me. Amoonguss is so good in this matchup, especially since this wasn't Terra Psychic. If this thing was Terra Psychic, I think it might have actually ransacked my team, just because I didn't really have a great check to Terra Psychic Iron Valiant on this build, outside of just outpacing it. I will say, well, actually no, Kingambit was a great check, but it's not a good switch-in. It's a terrible switch-in, same as my other good check is Revenging It with the Titan, but again, not an actual switch-in. And even Slowking would have had to risk knockoff, or even just +2 Spirit Break would have probably done a good chunk. So I didn't have great switch-ins to Iron Valiant, especially depending on the set, but thankfully though, it was like the best set for this matchup possible for us. Regardless, at this point, I'm gonna switch out here actually, and I'm gonna bring in Satitan, I think. I know that, to be fair, we don't exactly need Satitan at this point, which is kind of why I'm doing this, because if my opponent happens to wake up, so be it, but they're probably not going to click a steel move, they're probably going to click a ground move, because I don't exactly have a great switch in, and I'm going to go for Earthquake, because Earthquake should be pretty decent against everything at this point. Even if Dondozo comes in, I should be pretty fine here. And regardless, it's just about getting damage off. I know Dondozo's probably Rest, which I don't mind a lot. I can go right into Amoonguss and probably just wear down my opponent's team from there with Helmet Amoonguss. I just didn't want to have to take any unnecessary damage was all, especially against Iron Treads, because that's going to pack a punch. And truthfully, getting the free switch into Pult would have also been pretty decent, since I could always go for a fire move on Iron Treads. From here, though, we're going to go back into Amoonguss. Really, at this point, it's just about switching around Dondozo and Iron Treads, because eventually my opponent's going to have to keep taking Giga Drains that they're not going to appreciate taking until I can end up KOing both these Pokemon. Since my opponent's longevity on Iron Treads probably is terrible. There's no way in hell they're a Rest Talk set. Dondozo's probably, but to be fair, I have enough Pokemon that can just outright wear this thing down, especially with my special offense. Now, Mo is going to bring in Iron Treads here. Okay, so this is a little unfortunate. I think what I'll do this turn, I'm going to go for... I'm going to switch out. I'm going to definitely switch out. I'm throwing Kingambit to the wind. This is really kind of useless, actually, at this point in the game because of the burn, which is very unfortunate because I think Kingambit had a decent matchup. Albeit, to be fair, not as decent as I thought, considering Dondozo fucking cheated this Mon, but I think it could have done pretty decent. Game didn't end up exactly positioning how I would have liked. We're going to go for a Kowtow Cleave. Actually, I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch here. I don't really need to go for Kowtow, considering the fact that my goal is just to get a little bit of chip on Iron Treads. which I think we can pretty easily do, since this is definitely going to try and KO me with Earthquake, which I'll definitely take. Iron Treads woke up. It's going to go for Earthquake here. So be it. What I think I'm going to do from here, I'm just going to go into Dragon Pult, because Specs Fire move should be able to take this Mon out. I can't see a world where it doesn't. I could also go for Specs Shadow Ball, to be fair, and I think that might also have some benefit. However, at the same time, I want to make sure I can just guarantee take this Mon out. We're going to go, let's see. So I think what I'll do here, I'm going to go into Dragon Pult, and I'm going to click Specs Flamethrower. If Dondozo comes in, it's fine. I don't entirely mind this, because I can go right into Amoonguss, and I should still be good. My opponent would basically need to, again, call my switch perfectly to actually, well, not in this turn, but on the turn from Dondozo back into Iron Treads to not have to risk taking any Giga Drain damage. And even still, just a matter of the fact that there's not enough time, I think, for Mo to actually win this left, which is a little unfortunate for Mo, but still. I think this Flamethrower here, though, should be pretty decent with nothing else. And my guess is that Mo's probably going to try and stall around my team with Dondozo, which I don't know if you can really do, especially with the combination of Amoonguss plus Dragapult, which I'll definitely take that. From here, I'm definitely going to go into Amoonguss outright. This Mon cannot touch me. Thankfully, Amoonguss is like one of the best checks to this thing, and I happen to get a Dondozo matchup. So again, we'll very much take that, because this Mon is absolutely nightmarish for me. So I'm just going to go into Amoonguss, and I'm just going to keep Giga Draining until Dondozo takes us out, because there's no real reason not to. At a certain point, I might just go aggressive into Dragapult, to be fair, but I do need this thing at least to sleep. To be fair, this thing might also just not have a good way to damage me. I'm trying to think, but this is probably, so we've already seen Liquidation, and we've already seen Body Press, and we've seen Curse. So this is probably a Rest. It's his last move, which means that it's probably not Sleep Talk. Well, definitely not Sleep Talk then if it has Rest, because we've already seen the other 3 moves, which would be really good for us actually, because that means that we get a free turn to just go into Dragapult and click Specs Draco. And because this is unaware, actually, we're pretty set going for Specs Draco on this Mon. It's probably one of the biggest liabilities to unaware users. They don't ignore when your stats hit the negative. So I can just click Specs Draco on this pretty constantly, because it's not a Fairy type like Fable was, which was a huge benefit to that Mon being in the tier. So we're looking pretty good. Even then, Amoonguss is actually doing enough damage anyway. I don't even actually need Dragapult. This Mon just absolutely won here. Oh my god, Amoonguss really did just get like a perfect matchup, which I will definitely take. But very good game to Mo regardless. Oh my god, that lag spike was huge. I don't know if anyone saw that. Maybe it's just on my end, and maybe the recording was fine, but oh my god, it was terrible. Regardless though, shout out to Mo. I love playing Mo every single time I've played him. I played a ton in Sword and Shield against him. He's provided a ton of Uber teams as well that I've used on the channel and several stages of my career. So very glad I got to battle Mo in this gen very early on too. So I'll see if Mo has anything to link. I forget if Mo actually does any sort of content or not. But regardless, if there's something that Mo wants linked, regardless of what it is, I'll probably link it down below. If you guys enjoyed the battle and you want to see more like it, leave a like and subscribe for more. Shout out to our channel members, of course, being Josh, Get Ultra Player, Mia, and Zeke0. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to become a channel member today, just a few dollars a month, the link to that is down below, as well as to Twitter and Discord for updates and future content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out, guys.